In this episode of Getting Geeky with Game Relief, Princess Leaf sits down with Jack Spoerner to talk all about Dungeons of Infinity. Listen real close, as I think I even make a cameo appearance. Hey guys, make sure you hang on until after Kickstarter Corner, as we'll be telling you about a little giveaway that you could win some possible gift cards to Miniature Market. But I'm not going to spoil that for you. You're just going to have to listen. This episode of Getting Geeky with Game Relief is proudly being powered by Braden's World, makers of Heroes of History card game. Sam, the game's creator, was on with us a few episodes back, episode 235, Wishlist Wednesday on Saturday, Heroes of History Take 2 to be exact, to talk about this game, and after we got our copy, we are really excited to get started. It's the only game on the market where you can have Norse heroes fight American generals in a Minotaur's lair, which I can't wait to try out. The new set of Glorious Greeks and Vicious Vikings is out now. For listeners of the show, you can get a 10% rebate on the game by emailing sam@bradensworld.com. We'll leave the email link in the show notes with a copy of your receipt, and he'll get you 10% off. And for the first 10 listeners to leave an Amazon or eBay review, he'll also send you an extra 5% rebate. So visit bradensworld.com and learn more about how you can order Iron Flank vs. Dragon Boat Raiders, as well as the beginner set Midnight Riders vs. Echoes of the Plains. Heroes of History. Do you have what it takes to be a hero? This episode is powered by Heroes and Treasure, Darkness and Light campaign. The popular Heroes and Treasure family RPG expands with new maps, enemies, and treasures. Play it with kids 4 years old and up, even your teens. It's a game we'd like to get to the table when we bring back Rolling with the Leaf. It'll be on Kickstarter through Tuesday, the 12th of March. So, if you want to bring your kids your love of RPGs, definitely check out Heroes and Treasure, Darkness and Light campaign. This episode is powered by Calakmul, 4 daring jungle dice games in a tin. Who will be the next Maya ruler? Well, the only way to know for sure would be to back this game on Kickstarter before Thursday the 28th of February. If you're afeared you'd lose like I am, not to fret, as there's also a solo mode too. They've reached their funding goal, so check out Calakmul. This episode is powered by 9 Lives, a card game about cats. A card game for cat lovers, cat haters, and cat neutral people. Even dog people will love it too. They reached their funding goal and will be on Kickstarter through the 3rd of March.
Getting Geeky with Gamer Leaf, the podcast in which one man strives to level up his geekhood and helping you do the same, one battle at a time. Now, let's get geeky with Gamer Leaf.
Welcome to Getting Geeky with Game Relief. So glad you can make it. I'm so excited to be a spectator for once, kind of. Let's see what Princess Leaf asked Jack about his game. Then after, I'll be back in a more leading role to tell you about some cool games on Kickstarter. Without further ado, here is Jack and Princess Leaf's interview already in progress.
Now, let's get geeky with Gamer Leaf.
Perhaps you've played Dungeons and Dragons or other dungeon crawls. Maybe they went on for a short time, but tonight we have a special treat for you. We're talking once again, as we had him on previously, but the creator mastermind behind Dungeons of Infinity that's about to launch to Kickstarter or already on there by the time you're listening to that. Is that right, Jack? Is that how you fall in line with Dungeons of Infinity?
That's right. You go in there and you never come out.
Oh, there you go. Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us yet again on Getting Geeky with Game Relief. We really appreciate it.
Awesome. I look forward to it.
We've also got a special treat for all you listeners out there. Jack had specifically asked that Princess Leaf could interview him again, as I think he was the one that possibly interviewed her last time. It's been quite a while. Interviewed him last time. It's been quite a while. So we also have Princess Leaf joining us as well.
Jack, before we get into talking about your campaign, let's rewind a bit. How did you get into playing tabletop board games? And we don't have to go in so deep unless you were born into tabletop games.
How did I get into it? Oh, it was a long time ago, like 700,000 years before you were born. I played little war games with little tiles in the 70s.
Cool. What is your favorite game, or what are you playing today?
Well, unfortunately, because I've got a Kickstarter going, I'm not playing anything. I'm busy working on the Kickstarter, but I love Conan by Monolith, and I love Firefly, the board game.
Would you recommend it to our listeners?
Oh, most definitely.
Okay. What can you tell us about that game?
Which one?
The one you just mentioned.
There was actually two of them.
Yeah.
I mentioned two.
Well, what can you tell us about, you said there was something about Monolith?
Firefly. I'm going to talk about Firefly. Firefly, the board game.
Okay, what can you tell us about Firefly?
Firefly, the board game, I was playing it, and I got some of my ideas for my game from Firefly. And I like the fact that there are decks of cards in the game. There's lots of decks of cards. And when you draw from them, you have no idea what you're going to get, which is really cool. I like the aspect of surprise. So I added that to my game.
Word on the street is that you have a new project that will be on Kickstarter when this episode comes out. What can you tell us about Dungeon of Infinity?
Dungeons of Infinity is a 4-year project of mine. I've been working on it for 4 years. And the idea behind it is you're going into a dungeon. If I can do the story, King Armiger has this kingdom. And for some reason, he got stuck with the kingdom with all the dungeons. And he's tired of these bad guys and evil monsters coming out of the dungeons and causing trouble in his kingdom. So he has recruited some heroes to go in and clear out those dungeons. And the heroes don't know what they're getting into when they go in the dungeon. So every corner they turn around and every room they go in, they don't know what they're going to find. And that's one of the fun things about the game that I love. And the reason I designed it that way is the surprise of not knowing what's going to happen. And for me, it's a lot of fun. I love playing the game.
Yeah, I remember we played it a little bit when you first had it on Kickstarter this last time. If I recall correctly, wasn't there something about noise or something affecting the people you're trying to get out of the dungeon or you're trying to kill?
Yeah, there's a concept that there's this boss, this massive dungeon demon lord or dungeon lord, and as you sneak through the dungeon, you're like making noise and you're alerting him. So you don't know when he's going to get alerted and when he's going to show up. But when he shows up, he starts chasing you. And every hero in the game has different levels of noise. Like the warrior makes lots of noise with all of his armor, and the thief is very quiet and stealthy. So the dungeon lord is going to move more towards that loud character. There's a little AI that I've implemented in the game. But the neat thing is you can't be guaranteed that he's always going to go towards the highest noise. Sometimes he might hear that little sound in the background and go, I want to go check that out.
Awesome. What inspired that mechanic, Jack?
Wow. I don't remember. Just like I was trying to design a game with lots of options, and I thought, well, when people go in somewhere, they're making noise. And if there's someone who doesn't want them there, they're going to be listening for that noise. So that's kind of where the idea came from.
That sounds fun. During playtesting of your game, was there anything you had to scrap because it wouldn't work?
The whole game. Yeah, I one thing, the noise idea. I used to have a little noise meter on the hero board, and the idea was as the hero was making noise, the noise meter would go up. And as the higher the noise meter got, then when it got to like 10, I think it was, then the demon lord or dungeon lord would come out. Well, there was a mechanism where all you had to do was rest. So it wasn't real exciting. The noise would go up. You'd go, oh, it's almost 10, so I'm just going to rest. So I got rid of that because it was like boring.
So did playtesters help you with decide that, or you just decided that on your own, or how did that go down?
Can I name drop here?
As far as I know, unless you signed a what do you call it, do not disclosure or whatever it is.
The designer of Gloomhaven, Isaac, I was playtesting with him, and he was like, "What? That's really boring, Jack." I said, "Isaac, I think you're right." So the idea, then it's been, a lot of different ideas, but yeah, he was the first one to mention it. I'll never forget that. It was like, "That's boring, Jack. You just rest." I was like, he's right.
Awesome. So what did you think of it after you changed that out of it?
I don't know because he hasn't played it with it that way.
When it comes to Dungeons of Infinity, what are you most proud of?
Wow, that's a really good question, Princess Leaf. Did you sit up all night thinking of really hard questions to ask me? That's really
No, Dad wrote them out.
okay. I'm kidding. Just the fact that the game works, that the game's fun, and that all the pieces work together. Because I can tell you, Princess Leaf, when I first sat down to play this by myself, it was horrible. I remember playing it going, I put all this time into this and it's horrible. It's a terrible game. It's not a terrible game anymore. It's an exciting, fun game now. And I'm proud of that. It took a lot of work to get there.
What has changed since the first time this was on Kickstarter?
Well, we now have, the artwork for one. The artwork, there's a long story behind the artwork, and your dad knows about it, and I'm not talking about it. So, but we didn't have a lot of artwork when we kickstarted last year, and there's a reason for that. We have much more artwork now, and it looks really awesome. I love it. And also, I made a tweak to the game, adding something called a threat meter.
What can you tell us about that, Jack?
What would happen in playtesting, but not very often, is every once in a while the dungeon lord wouldn't show up because of how it was worked out. And a lot of playtesters were like, "Well, Jack, the dungeon lord is like the coolest part of this game, so him not showing up isn't good." So I came up with this idea of, as the heroes discover a new room, or if they begin combat, or if they run, there's this threat meter that goes, in this case, it's going to go down. And every time, and when it gets to 0, you're going to you've made enough noise, you've discovered enough of the dungeon, that now that dungeon lord knows that you're there, and you have these boss event cards that you then start drawing that determine what room he shows up in. And it adds a whole lot of tension to the game and strategic decision making. I'm really proud of this because it really addressed one of the big problems of, when does the demon lord show up, or the dungeon lord show up?
If we sat down to play Dungeons of Infinity again, how would my turn look or sound like?
Well, Princess Leaf, that's kind of up to you, but the reason I say that is one of the things this game has is a lot of choice. And like, you like to play games, what kind of character do you like to play when you play a game?
Usually the girl character.
Okay, well, I have 5 of them. So is there a specific kind of girl you want to be? Like, you want to be an assassin kind of girl, or a ranger who has bows and arrows?
Like a ranger girl.
Okay, so if you were a ranger, what you would do in this game, and your name would be Alona, if I hope I didn't mispronounce that, and you would have an ability that you could fire your arrows from different rooms. Now, you are one of the weaker defensive characters, so you would not be the one going into the new rooms to see what was there, because when you go in blind, you could end up with some trouble. So you'd kind of be hanging back, kind of seeing what other people were doing, seeing what combat they got in, and then you would come in and you would start wailing with your arrows. You also have abilities where you can help assist, like you can do something which is really cool. You can be outside the room, and if the enemies are attacking some of your friends, you can use your arrows to deflect their attacks and help them to get defense. And so that's how you would play the game. And to go in more detail, every turn you have action points. So your ranger would have 4 action points, and you could do whatever you could do in your turn with those 4 action points. And one thing I like about the game is you have ability cards for your ranger that are unique to your ranger. And you can do an ability as many times as you want if you have enough action points for it. So there's no discarding your ability. You have freedom to do what you want. Does that sound exciting?
Yeah. What makes your game stand out from the other games in Kickstarter? And if one of our audience members were to check it out, and if they liked it, backed it, what would make it so special?
That's a good question. That's an awesome question. I think there's a lot that makes this game stand out. One of the things is you can play this game solo. You can play it with a bunch of friends cooperatively where you're all working together. You can play this game against each other and have fun doing that. You can make alliances while you're playing the game that way and then backstab them. There's nothing to say you can't do that. Now, it doesn't work real well if you're playing cooperatively. And then also, there is a story campaign that's going to be a book about 100 pages big, where there's going to be a story that takes place from point 1 all the way 30 dungeons later to where hopefully you have a resolution to that story. And there's going to be puzzles in there. There's going to be surprises. So it's like a campaign from point A to point B. And as you can see, that just gives the game a lot of variety because of the different ways you can play it. Another thing is, because of how the dungeon is built, you will never play the same game twice. It's literally infinite in the dungeon configuration. And then also the combat in the game is very unique in that when you come in a room, the enemies come and focus on the hero that comes in the room, and then other heroes can come in and leave. They can cooperate and do things to help you, but the enemies won't come and attack you unless you do something to make them attack you. So there's lots of strategic things that you can do because of that feature of you just go in the room and they're not necessarily all going to attack you. And also the combat has a spatial, which means you have roles of enemies. So you can attack the first roll, the second roll, or the third roll. And there's a lot of strategy in how you're going to defeat the enemies with all your different abilities. And the enemies can be really strong.
Well, that's pretty good to hear. And I forget, because it's been a while since we played it, Jack, and since the Kickstarter was there, is it standees or miniatures in the game?
It is going to have standees. And when you see the Kickstarter page, which you wanted to see it, it's not ready to show anybody yet, even though we're only 4 days away. The standees look awesome.
Awesome. I can't wait. And so that's pretty good. That's awesome that it's coming back to Kickstarter. What have you done different in your preparation for Kickstarter, would you think?
Well, one of the big things was not complaint, but the biggest issue was it didn't look like there was a lot of game there. So the Kickstarter is going to focus more, without getting into great detail, because there's just so much you can do with this game. but you can see more of the game. You're going to see how combat works without getting into really great detail. You're going to see that there's a campaign story mode without getting into great detail. You're going to see the different options. You're going to see the ability cards. You're going to see the things that you can do so that people can see that there's a lot of game here. And one of the things was people would say, well, I would say that information's there. You have to watch the videos. And they would say, well, if I'm not seeing that up front in the Kickstarter page, I'm not going to go watch the videos. So we're trying to put more up front in the Kickstarter page. If you want to get detailed, those videos are still going to be there.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've noticed that a lot of the times people will have they might have a video or whatnot, but then like they show everything in the videos, but then they don't have anything really on the page or whatnot. And it seems like at least with the Kickstarter community that's on Facebook or the game community on Facebook, it seems like they don't really care about that. They'd rather have it all there. If there's too much text and not any pictures and stuff, they don't like that for some reason.
Right. I've been working very hard on a video showing the combat, and then I'll put it on the Facebook page, and I'll let the people following on Facebook then comment, and it's been great helping create this. So I think, we're in a lot better shape than we were last time.
Well, that's good to hear. Has the funding or the buy-in goals changed at all?
Yes. The buy-in is $49 now, whereas last year it was $59, and the level of funding is now $40,000 instead of $50,000.
Okay, awesome. And you talked of asking questions and whatnot on the page. That's in a Facebook group, is it not?
That's correct. Dungeons of Infinity on Facebook.
And how do you feel the group has helped you throughout the process?
Well, they've been great. A lot of good people, a lot of people who have been, that Facebook group has existed for over 2 years. And I have people that I know who have been following from like the day the page was created. And they're just hanging in there and can't wait. And they've been very supportive of the artwork. And, not that they're telling me everything is great. They'll tell me, no, Jack, that's not great. So that's good because that's good feedback.
Yeah, feedback's always good. Have they ever been pestering you about when is it coming to Kickstarter?
A little bit, but they're very patient. And what I do is I keep it updated a lot. So they're seeing that things are happening. And when you see things are happening, you know that there's work being done on it. So I think I've put an update out there at least once a week, if not multiple times over the last year.
Well, that's good to hear. And how many people would you say are in the group currently?
740 or 30, I forget.
Oh, well, that's pretty good. And they're all pretty active, or a lot of them are?
A lot of them are, yeah. And then I have a newsletter, too, that has over 600 people.
Well, there you go. That's pretty good. So you're launching on, if I get this right, you're launching on Tuesday, the 19th of February. And how long is the campaign going to run till?
30 days. It goes from Tuesday to Thursday for 30 days.
Okay, awesome. So yeah, they'll have to go ahead and check that out, and we'll make sure we leave all the links in the show notes so they can be able to follow along and check out the campaign as soon as it launches.
That'd be awesome.
Mine is coming to your hometown to stalk you. How can they keep up with you?
Who is coming to my hometown?
Our audience.
How do they find you online, Jack?
Dungeons of Infinity.
Just Google Dungeons of Infinity.
Yeah, you will find me. Yeah.
Speaking of keeping up with you, what's next?
Very busy weekend. And then hopefully, we fund the first week. That would be the goal. Everybody who has been following the last couple of years would love that.
Well, there you go. Awesome. So that's pretty cool. And so you fund the first week, or you fund during the campaign at some point, so you don't overpromise and underdeliver. When would people anticipate being able to get Dungeons of Infinity so they can have that endless dungeon play in their homes?
Hopefully about a year.
Awesome. Awesome. And let's see here. Yeah, so that's awesome. Now, we don't want to keep you all night, Jack, but we really appreciate you coming on Getting Geeky with Gamer Leaf with us to
talk about Dungeons of Infinity.
Awesome. Thank you, Princess Leaf, for joining us. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
You're welcome. We appreciate it, Jack.
Do you know why I requested you?
No.
I love children. I work with children all the time. I love kids. So you're like one of my favorite people on earth.
What do you do to work with children?
I am a children's pastor.
That sounds fun.
It's a blast. I get to act silly all the time.
There you go. Awesome.
Cool.
I have to design a silly game for children.
Well, there you go. Do you have any other upcoming games in the works?
No, I've got lots of stuff on the back burner, but I'm a focused guy, and I feel like I shouldn't put anything else forward until this delivers.
Most definitely, yeah. So we'll go ahead and make sure we leave all the links in the show notes. But if you're listening right now, make sure you go ahead and jump on over with the link in the show notes to check out Dungeons of Infinity that's on Kickstarter now or about to launch sometime today.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the time.
No problem. Thank you very much, Jack.
What is this place? What is it doing here in the Leaves computer? Oh, it's Kickstarter Corner with the Leaves.
Wow, she did a great job. I'd better watch out or she'll take my job. Anyways, let's see what's on Kickstarter, shall we? First, we've got Theosis Godslayer that's on Kickstarter through today at 1 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. So, you're going to not want to dilly-dally, especially if you've always wanted to show off a giant dragon miniature or wanted the game that comes with it. If you're unsure, I had the designer on the show again this last Saturday. So, go give it a listen and then back this mini expansion for only $9 US. Check out Theosis Godslayer. This one is also finishing up its Kickstarter run this week as well. It's Head Chef, the tabletop card game of food, fame, and fun. I also had Peter on one of Saturday's episodes as well. Go listen to it and see what you think. I wonder which character you'd be. They are oh so close to their funding goal, $349 to be exact. Let's see this game come to fruition this time. Go check out Head Chef, the tabletop card game of food, fame, and fun, on Kickstarter through Friday, the 22nd of February at 3:58 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. We teased about this game at the first of the show, but the creator wasn't on Saturday's show, so we'll go ahead and give you a little longer to check out 9 Lives. It's a card game for cat lovers, cat haters, and cat neutral people. Even dog people will love it, as well as Leafs love it. That's right, Ice convinced me as I sat down with him to chat all about it. Go give it a listen by checking out their update number 1. Then back 9 Lives before Sunday the 3rd of March. Did you ever play War, the card game, as a kid? I remember sitting down and playing it for hours with a sibling as my dad ran or swam at a national park while growing up. Fond memories of that game. So, to my delight, Analog Game Studios is running a Kickstarter for Duels of Cartisora. 2 players, 6 warriors. It's a shotgun card game with 6 infamous warriors. Quick setup and play. A lifetime to sharpen your battle skills. Based off my conversation with Jeremy and Richard, I got the vibe of War the card game, but everyone has asymmetrical powers. Go give it a listen by checking out update number 2 of their campaign. I can't wait to play it. If you feel like I do, make sure you back Duels of Cartisora before Sunday the 10th of March. Did you catch episode 252 Wishlist Wednesday on Saturday in the Hall of the Mountain King? You didn't? Well, go back and listen to it. It was the last episode in your podcast feed before this one dropped. We'll wait for you. What do you think? Me too. I loved our chat. I'm way excited to play this game. It's got a bit of everything, including territory denial, cascading production, magic, and muscle. It's an innovative game for 2 to 5 trolls that is easy to learn, but hides rich depths. So run on over to Kickstarter right now and back in the Hall of the Mountain King before Thursday the 28th of February. You don't got plans for Thursday's commute, do you? Oh, good, because I'll be sitting down with two brothers who are in a rock band together to talk about their latest game that's on Kickstarter entitled Sheep Boom Ba. What could be more fun than a 2 to 4 player tabletop game of moving sheep and playing cards while trying to discover your barn hidden in an active minefield? I couldn't think of anything neither. Since it's not out in stores yet, make sure you're subscribed to Getting Geeky with Gamerleaf in your favorite podcast catcher so you don't miss my chat with them, due out on Thursday the 21st of February. Then make sure you back Sheep Boom Ba on Kickstarter before Tuesday the 5th of March. We're actually doing a survey on our website. Jump on over to answer a few questions to help us plan a little project we're working on. You could possibly win one of 4 $25 gift cards to Miniature Market just for participating in a simple survey. Oh, and don't forget to go listen to yesterday's episode of We're Not Wizards Tabletop Podcast, as I was the star. We had a fun time. I really like that show, and you should check it out, especially if you want to hear more of me. If that wasn't enough things for you to do, check out our Kickstarter campaign as well. We're oh so close to our last stretch goal that's listed there, and we could really use your help coming up with some fan-based stretch goals. So if you have ideas, go ahead and send me an email at gamerleaf@gamerleafgo.com. But now it's our least favorite time, your least favorite time for us to get on with our lives, you to get on with yours. In the meantime, I hope you'll get geeky, stay geeky, and bring others in the geek fold. Gamerleaf out.
Gamerleaf levels up. Tune in next week to see if Gamerleaf's luck holds up.